Hi guys, I got another video made, so you didn't have to wait so long. That was my goal. So I am just outlining a turtle shell. I'm doing a little turtle shell. This is a beginner project, minus the foil. This is fairly easy to do, and it's a lot of fun. And this is a good project for a beginner foiler too. So if you are looking into wanting to do foil, this is the perfect thing to begin with because it's just a little round circle that you're foiling. So there are some things you have to learn, but I'll show you when we get there. So I'm just using a pencil and just sketching out a loose drawing of a turtle shell and the feet, tail, and head. You'll be able to see these better when I outline them in black. It's kind of on a dark rock. This beautiful rock is from Santorini Stones by Shelley, or Stones by Shelley on Etsy. And this is a moonshadow rock, and they come in all different kinds. Like this one's a little bit darker and has some beautiful little lines in it. So right now I'm using nail glue, and I totally forgot to put my gloves on, so please remember to wear your gloves when you do nail foil. This is Burano glue that I'm using, and I'm just putting a nice coat on. And also you want to wear your respirator. I always do wear my respirator because of the odor is pretty strong. But you don't want to get it on you either because you can form an allergy to it pretty quickly. Some people get the allergy right off the bat. Some it builds up over time. Thankfully, I didn't get any on me. So when I went real fast over the rock like that, I was blowing the bubbles out with a little torch. And it's just like a little culinary torch. You can get them at pretty much anywhere. I got mine on Amazon. I can leave some links down below of everything that I'm using. So now I'm using one of my favorite UV LED flashlights. It has 12 lights in it. The 9 light flashlights aren't enough. You want a 12 light flashlight. And you don't want to use anything more powerful than that because you'll risk wrinkling your glue and having to start over. So I'm using the Rainbow Paint Pour foil from the Foiling Rock Lady. I wanted something colorful on the turtle shell, and I thought this foil would be perfect for it. But after doing this, it made me think that there's so many options that I could do so many cute turtles with different kinds of foil. So I might just have to do more turtles. So I'm rubbing this in really good, and I also like to apply the light after I put the foil on, just to make sure that it's adhered to the glue. And if you get any resistance when you go to pull that foil up, you definitely want to put the light back on it because it should come up off the glue really easy. So if there's any kind of resistance, make sure you reapply the light. So now I'm going slowly, pulling that foil up because if there's any spots, this is a rock and they do have natural divots in them. So if there's any spots that the foil didn't adhere, you want to make sure to rub it in and make sure it catches onto that glue. And there you go. So now I'm going to take a Posca 1MR in black, and I'm going to line the outside of the shell, and I'm also going to go ahead and line the feet and head and the tail. Now, the tail I ended up making too small, and I will fix it in a bit with the white paint, because after I sketch in the outline, I'm gonna use some wet white paint by Americana Snow White. I think I'll show it on camera, but I go really fast because I sped the video up a bit. but I'll just apply white on the head and neck, feet, and tail, and I'll fix that tail because it's a little too thin. I'm going to make the base of the tail a little bit thicker, and you'll see it here in a minute when I do it. But I'm not going to make you watch me just painting the feet and head and tail white, so it's going to go real quick through it. So now I'm drawing a peace sign on the shell. Yes, it's another peace rock. Woohoo! Peace signs are my go-to when I can't find anything to paint. A peace sign is always inspirational to me, so I usually will paint some kind of a peace sign unless I have some other things that are inspiring me. And so I'm taking this slow, and I'm rounding off all those sharp points slowly because I did this rock already before this one and totally messed it up and had to start over. So that's why I'm taking it slow this time. I did speed it up a little bit just so you're not having to sit for so long, but I'm trying to leave my videos a little bit longer instead of speeding them up so fast so that the beginners can have a little bit more time to see what I'm doing and be able to copy it if they need to. This is the Americana paint I'm using, and I'm just going to paint in the head and feet and tail. See how I made that base of the tail a little bit thicker? Now I'm going to take some metallic shimmer shots in silver. That's from the Foiling Rock Lady on Etsy. And it's a liquid watercolor, and it's super awesome because it's thin, but it's super pigmented. And so I'm using a super fine brush because I want just a really fine silver line around the outside of the turtle shell. And so you'll have to keep applying paint because this brush is so fine it only can hold so much paint. I did have a silver pen that I could have used, but it would have made it a little bit of a thicker line, and I wanted more control over it and be able to make the line as thick as I wanted a little bit at a time. So that's why I went with the super fine brush. And again, I'll link everything I use down in the description so that you'll be able to see exactly what I'm using. Now I'm going to make a little V at the top of the turtle shell and the peace sign. I'm going to grab a drink of water. And I'm just looking at it right now to make sure that I got everything I needed to. Going over the V again. Now once that dries, I'm going to take my Posca 1 and more in black, and I'm just going to go over my outline and catch all the parts that I painted with the white paint. Just doing a little touch up. And then I'm going to take my cactus pen, which is a super fine gel pen, and I'm going to line the outside of the turtle shell again on the side of the silver because I want the silver to pop out and show just a little bit, and that black line will make it do that. So I'm just going to outline it all the way around. And I opted to use the pen this time because it's super fine in black and I have super control with it as opposed to a brush. I have more control. So I have a very heavy hand when I paint, and so I try to use different tools to help me not make too heavy of lines. So now I'm going to take some clear gesso by Liquitex Basics, and I'm going to apply it on the feet, tail, head, everything that I painted white because I'm going to be using watercolor, and the clear gesso gives it a nice grip, and so that's the purpose of using the clear gesso. If you're going to use acrylic, or if you don't want to mess with the clear gesso, you know, you don't have to use it. But I just like the grip it gives me when I'm using watercolors. So this is the new Crystal Labyrinth set by the Foiling Rock Lady. And I'm using the purpley blue color to color in the head and the feet and the tail. So I'm wanting there to be a thicker, heavier coat of that purplish blue in the center. So I'm going to kind of draw that in first, or paint that in. And then I wiped a lot of it off my brush, and I go back and just put a really fine coat on all the rest of it. I don't use a lot of water when I do watercolor. I like my paint to be thicker, and it works for me. So I feel like I have more control over it when I don't use so much water. So when I will dip my brush into the water, and then I'll dip it into the pan, and I'll really work that paint and make sure that that paint is nice and thick. And then I'll dab my brush off before I go to the rock, because I don't want too much paint on the end of that brush. And then as the water starts drying out of the pan, then I can go in and just swipe and get a little bit on the tip of the brush to go in and do the darker parts of the feet and the around the neck part. So as you see, I'm going back in and just making it a little darker up there at the base of the foot. And I'm just kind of making little squiggle marks and just making it have some texture. And I'm going to do the same thing with this last foot. I'll go in light, add some highlighting, and then I'll go in dark around the base. And as you see, there's hardly any water left in that pan, so it's coming off really thick on my brush. So that's where I'm doing the darker shadows. And just little tiny taps, putting in some texture. Now on the tail, I'm gonna wiggle my brush down and just leave some open white spaces all the way down, just to give the tail some texture. And if you want to just color it solid and then go back with white paint or a pen, you can put lines in, but I just did it right there quick. And now I'm putting more paint in the center of the head, and then I'm lightly coloring in the neck. Now once that completely dries, I'm going to take a little bit of white paint on a dry brush, and I'm just going to go in and kind of texture in some lighter parts on the head and kind of make the area where I'm going to do the eyes. I do use a dry brush a lot for when I'm blending. It's something that I started doing very early on when I started painting, and it works for me. So I have lots of little scruffy brushes for doing dry brush. And I'm also adding to the highlight on that one foot. Just a little highlights here and there with a dry brush, and not a lot of paint on the brush. There's very little paint on the brush, so that I have more control. Now I'm adding a little bit of highlight on the neck and then on the foot. And if there's too much, swipe your brush off, go back and blend it out. And you always want to make sure that each layer that you do, you let it dry before you continue. Now I'm taking a little bit of black and just darkening around the neck, adding some shadow. And I'm going to do some darker on the neck using that dark purple at the bottom part of the neck, just to give it a darker shadow there. And so it'll look like there's a highlight on the neck. from the light. Now once I'm happy with that, I let it dry completely and I'm going to work on the eyes. Now the eyes were my downfall on this. I really had to work hard on the eyes. I went back and forth, and you're going to see me spend a lot of time on them. They're little tiny eyes, and I wanted to get the angle right. So I had sprayed my rock before I started drawing the eyes on, just in case I made a mistake, and that way you can clean your mistake off. So I did use Rust-Oleum matte 2X on the rock before I started this part. And as you can see, I took it off. I used a little bit of water because that cactus pen is water soluble. So I took the eyes off and started over again. I was going to cut that part out, but then I was like, no, I want to tell y'all what I did, because we all make mistakes. And there's things we're not happy with. And when you spray it real good and let it dry real good, you can fix your mistakes when you're using something like a gel pen. So that's why I opted to use the gel pen to do the eyes. So once I get the eyes in and get them where I want them, I'll start working on the pupil and the eye and just the points on each eye. And I'm going to go in and add the whites to the eyes. And you'll see me go back and forth until I'm happy with it. I have OCD, so it took me a while on this part to get it exactly where I wanted it, but you may get it right off the bat or not have OCD and don't stress about it. That's just me. But I finally got it to where I wanted it, and now I'm just doing little detail stuff. I did some little dots around the mouth part and some dots on the neck. And I'm just drawing in some little details. I made like a little, kind of like a comma, I guess, or an apostrophe kind of design on the head. And then little circles on the neck. And then I colored it in with a gel pen in kind of a peachy orange color. You could use any orange, and any pen you want. It was just something I had close by. I love using my gel pens for little details. Now I'm just kind of going in, I let that dry good, and I'm just going to go in with a little bit more color and fix some little spots here and there that I need to fix, and bring out. I wanted to bring out a little more color to the sides on the face. So that's all I'm doing right here. And this sucker is almost done. I'm going to add some bling bling to the outside of the rock. I'm going to leave the rock natural color besides adding the glitter. And then you have a cute little Peace Kindness rock. So I'm going to be using ocean spray in the glitter whips. Now the glitter whip that I'm using is actually just glitter gel. It was our first round of making the glitters, and we have since made a better glitter whip. We call them glitter whips now. And so this one's a little bit thinner than what the new ones are. The new ones are thicker and a lot easier to apply. But it's a beautiful glitter, the ocean spray. It has a purple to turquoise shift in it. So it's really beautiful, and I thought that would be pretty to go along with the colors that I chose for the turtle. So it gives it an appearance of water, maybe a little bit of shimmery water, but not too much. Because I love the natural rock on these moon shadows. Well, all of them that are shadows have different designs. Sometimes you'll get lucky and get a pink one. Sometimes you get ones with lines through them, wishing stones. So you never know what you're going to get when you get dream shadows. They're beautiful when you start washing them and getting them all soaked and wet down and all the dust off. They are just absolutely gorgeous. So I wanted that to show through. So that has the glitter on it, and now I'm just moving the glitter around where I want it, you know, being persnickety about where I want the glitter. And I'm just gonna go back and forth until I'm happy with it. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope y'all give it a try. I'm rocking KK everywhere on YouTube, Facebook, let's see, I have a group on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, so feel free to follow me and post your work, tag me. Please let me know if you do paint this. I hope you have fun and enjoy the video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.